Welcome to the jungle. I'm your host, Andy Garza, President and CEO of Big Gorilla Sales and Marketing Training. Here in the Jungle podcast for all the hungry entrepreneurs, you'll hear firsthand experiences from business owners of how they overcame challenges on their road to success. Every week, we'll have a different business owner from every walk of life. If you want to learn more about guerrilla marketing, visit biggorillamarketing.com. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Big Gorilla Marketing. Welcome to this week's episode of The Jungle for Hungry Entrepreneurs. We have here Mercie May from Lifesaver Simplified. Thank you for coming, Mercie. It's good to have you here. So we'll start out by tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so Lifesaver Simplified, we're an HR consulting service, local in the Elkhart County area, Mishawaka, South Bend, this region. So yeah, that's basically what we do. We help small businesses with their HR needs.
Okay. And that's one of those hidden type parts of the business that a lot of people don't think are I don't know a whole lot about it, actually. I mean, I know I didn't when I first started owning businesses, that type of thing. So what got you into this type of, it's not one of those things you grow up and say, I want to be an HR person.
No, it's not. It's not what I went to college for. So it wasn't really the pathway I had thought about, but it definitely suits me. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I started my first business when I was 19. I had opened up a pizza place in Constantine, Michigan. It's a small little town. Most people don't even know where Constantine is, but it did pretty well, especially for being 19. And then after that, I just got into other small businesses and then started working at a staffing agency, got into the HR vertical. And then currently I'm working for a company called Satellite Industries in Bristol as the HR manager.
Okay.
So
what made you want to kind of start your own endeavor into this field?
So I see a lot of small business owners struggle with wearing multiple hats. Currently, my husband and we own Embassy Coffee in Goshen and now in Mishawaka. And my husband is trying to wear multiple hats at the same time. And it's just a lot for one person, one small business owner, to have to deal with so many different verticals within a small business. So I, of course, handle the HR portion in Embassy Coffee. And then I see other business owners just struggling with trying to manage everything all at once. So that's kind of where Lifesaver Simplified was birthed. And that's kind of where the name came from. I just want to be there for other small business owners and throw them a lifesaver.
Well, I know I am, and Allison, who I've had on the show before, as recently as last week, we are very familiar with somebody trying to do everything. And when they start a business, it's just one of those things that you don't know what you don't know, for one. And then you learn real quick. And then as you grow and HR departments or people become more important to address the situation, you can't do everything. And it's so true. That's one of the biggest mistakes that small businesses have. They're either dragging their feet a little bit on getting people who do know what they're doing in these different sectors of the business. They should actually address a lot of these different things a lot sooner than they do.
Well, yeah, I think one challenge for small business owners is, they either don't have the finances to hire an HR person on site, or maybe they don't have enough need for a full-time HR person. So that's kind of where I fall into play with Lifesaver Simplified. Small businesses can basically hire me for what they need at the moment. That way it's not going to be burdened financially. And then that way they're getting what they need as they build that foundation.
So I was curious, is it important? I know it's important that once you take on and hire somebody like you to set up the HR stuff, policies, that type of thing. Is it something that is an ongoing need? I mean, do they eventually have to, as they grow into it, get an HR department, or how does that work?
Well, I think it just depends on where the business owner wants to take the company. Maybe they'll never need a full-time HR person on site. You know, maybe all they need is someone to establish that foundation, and then maybe they can take it on themselves. But some business owners, they want to focus more on the growth of the business. So if they're focusing on the growth, then they might need a full-time person. Or maybe they need to utilize Lifesaver Simplified for 30 hours a month. And then that will give them all they need for that support, whether it's recruiting or policies or training manuals, things like that.
Okay, that makes sense. You know, as you started your business, I always like to know, what are some of the trials and tribulations of growing your business that you have had to overcome?
Now for a quick break to thank our sponsors: Awaken Marketing, Awaken New Possibilities, Griner Law Group, Small Business Showcase Magazine, celebrating the small business spirit, M&D Advertising, Creations Beyond Expectations, and Big Gorilla Sales and Marketing Training, bringing out your inner gorilla.
Trials and tribulations of growing your business that you have had to overcome to get where you are.
It's a new company. I just launched it, so I'm getting into the weeds of it. So I wouldn't say necessarily that I've experienced challenges. What I foresee a big challenge is to juggle all the needs of the different companies. That's why I already have a team of people that I will be bringing on to Lifesaver Simplified. So there's different verticals within HR. So there's payroll, there's scheduling, there's recruiting, there's training, there's policies, there's safety, there's benefits. There's so many different verticals. So as I grow my company and see what needs, you know, my clients will be having, then I have the resources already ready to come on that have strengths in those different verticals. So I've already foreseen some of the challenges, and hopefully I'm getting ahead of those challenges.
Ah, very good. Very good. Kind of being a little proactive there.
Yeah.
Getting locked and loaded with people behind you as you grow. Sure.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's all gonna come at once, and I know I'm only, you know, one person, so I'm ready to bring others on Lifesaver Simplified.
Oh, very good. That brings to mind what another question I always like to ask is where do you see your company in 3 to 5 years or so? What do you want to do with it?
Honestly, I was looking into how, you know, maybe it's not Lifesaver Simplified, maybe it's a sister company that branches off into a nonprofit portion where we can help small businesses and we can offer them free services with, you know, 60 days, 90 days. We come in, we offer free services, we get that solid foundation. If the small business owner thinks that they're good with that foundation and can take over from there, great. But, you know, if we can at least offer free services in the initial part, because I would hate, you know, small business owners to run into, you know, maybe challenges, or maybe, you know, if they don't get that support, the doors are going to close. Who knows, you know, all different businesses have their challenges, and it would be awesome to be able to offer free HR services.
Wow, that's very good to hear.
Yeah.
Now, I have, you know, an HR, not an HR experience, but in growth. When I've had 4 different companies, and they all, you know, were at different levels, but the last one I had was going to be a national company. And I remember talking with the president of the franchise company, one of the largest franchise company in the US, talking about all the details, and HR came up. And I said, well, as of right now, I got 0. And he said, you're about to go national. It's time to address it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I remember that conversation, and it seemed like we were small, but we weren't really that small when you look at all the people that were involved. I had over 400 members of my company.
Gosh, yeah.
3 states, 17 counties, and growing very rapidly. And he goes, yeah, you're not that small.
No,
I think it's time to
definitely
address
not.
it. So the reason I bring that up is, like, when is the right time? You know, I guess you can never be too early.
Right. So I use this as an example. So I think Lifesaver Simplified is probably good for, businesses that have 100 people or less. Once you reach that 100 mark of employees, you probably want to get somebody on site, especially, being an HR manager at Satellite Industries, I'm putting out different fires. And you can just never know, what the day might hold, whether it's an injury, whether it's a complaint, whether we just got a big contract, we need to hire 60 people, by next month, you just never know. So I think the perfect number would be 100. When I started working at Satellite Industries here in Indiana, we had 65 people on site, and they knew exactly that it was time to get somebody on site. And it was a good thing because we went from 65 people to 350 people at our highest point.
Wow.
So,
Well, that was actually my next question. What was the number you think is the sweet spot of?
Yeah.
Don't cross that. You need a HR at least address it, whether it's an
Right.
HR person like you or at
Right.
least get one on site. So very good. I'm glad you answered that question before I asked it. Now I got nothing else to do.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. So I always leave our listeners to the one last thing I like to ask is any words of wisdom that you would have to somebody who wants to follow in your footsteps.
I think as an entrepreneur, my word of wisdom would be to get a team behind you. And that's definitely what I did with Lifesaver Simplified. I have my team ready to go. But unfortunately, with my husband and I, with Embassy Coffee, we did not have that team. So it was my husband literally trying to do everything himself. And we know now that you need that team. You need not only a team to maybe take some of the things off your plate that maybe you're not strong at, you have somebody that comes in, that is stronger in that area than you are, but you need that team around you to encourage you, to help you make wise decisions. If you're one man trying to make all the decisions, you're probably not going to make all the right decisions.
That's a good point. And that's one thing I've always believed in. I'd rather, because I know I'm good at one thing. And I'm very good at it, but all the other things, I would say at best I'm moderate to very weak.
Yeah.
And I was always a big believer in getting people, surrounding yourself with people who are much smarter than you are in all those other areas that you're not very good at. And I don't even mind people that are as good or better than I am at what I do as in marketing. I like to learn. So I mean, that's one kind of credo I have is always continue learning, no matter what it is. Anything we leave out that you wanted to bring up about your business, or did we cover everything?
Well, I should be having my website, should be up and running next month. Right now I'm just working on social events and social networking. I'm networking within the community, so not many people know about Lifesaver Simplified. But hopefully once my website's launched, they'll have a way to contact me a little easier.
Okay. And as of right now, how can people get a hold of you? Where do they get?
So I do have an Instagram page. So it's Lifesaver_Simplified. So you can get a hold of me through Instagram. And then I have an email and phone number that we can share also with them.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is our episode for today, and I do thank Mercie May for joining us. It was very enlightening and a very important subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's got to be talked about.
Right.
So very good. Join us next episode, and we'll have a new subject and then maybe a new guest. So until then, we'll talk to you next time.
If you want to learn more about guerrilla marketing, visit biggorillamarketing.com. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Big Gorilla Marketing. To thank our sponsors, Awaken Marketing, Awaken New Possibilities, Griner Law Group, Small Business Showcase Magazine, celebrating the small business spirit, M&D Advertising, Creations Beyond Expectations, and Big Gorilla Sales and Marketing Training, bringing out your inner gorilla.